Hello, my health freedom loving friends. Misty Carlfeld here with Health Freedom Idaho. We are getting so many calls and messages and emails about how Idaho citizens are having their health freedom rights violated. We have citizens that are being fired from their jobs because they are refusing the flu vaccine. We have college students who apply for college, get accepted, and then they're told they have to live on campus and they have to have these vaccines to live on campus. So unless they're willing to subject themselves to these vaccines, or they can fill out some kind of an exemption that's acceptable, then they're having to find a different college to go to. Now, the most heartbreaking stories that I get calls about are from parents that have had their children taken by Child Protective Services. And a lot of these parents, they don't want their story to be heard. They're too afraid to rock the boat because they're so desperate to get their children back, and I can't blame them for that. But it makes it hard for me to be able to share with you about what to do in these situations. Now, I had a dad call me a little while back, and I've gotten to know him pretty well. He and his wife, they have 3 kids, and he shared his story with me. Now, they've gotten their children back, and they're brave enough to let me share their story. I'm not going to use their names or their children's ages, but you need to know what this looks like so that you can make different decisions. So he explained to me that they're living in a trailer, their children are out playing in the dirt daily, which, as we all know, is a very healthy thing to do. And the mom's yelling, "Hey, kids, don't go over there, don't do that," pop, 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 like we tend to do. And the neighbor decided that that was inappropriate. So they called Child Protective Services. CPS shows up at their door, and they allow them to come into their home. They proceed with checking the home, and they find, I'm not kidding you, a toilet was not flushed. They put that down on the report as a reason for taking their children. A toilet not flushed. Now, I don't know about you, but I have 4 kids, and when people come over, I'm just hoping that I have all the toilets flushed. This is a normal family thing. So they've decided that the children are in imminent danger. Does this sound like imminent danger to you? Because without a court order, they're not allowed to take the children unless they deem that the children are in imminent danger. Now, obviously, they were not in imminent danger because they've gotten their children back. But this was grounds for them taking their children. And you know what they said to the dad? She said, "We take children for 2 reasons. One, because they need to be taken. And the other reason is for a wake-up call for parents." Now, if that's the case, if that's true, we should all be terrified. Because who gets to decide which parents need a wake-up call? So then what happens is the children are taken and they have a physical done on the kids. Now, I've heard this time and again from parents, but it didn't occur to me that they're having a sexual assault test done. I'm going to let that sink in for a minute. Children who are being taken from their parents by CPS, these parents have not lost their parental rights. That's just in question whether the children are safe, are immediately taken and having a physical done, including a sexual assault test. Now, I know that there was no question whether these children were being sexually assaulted. This is just part of the program. This is just what they do. They take your children's blood and they do a full physical on your children. No parental consent. Parents are not there to tell their children that they're going to be okay. Can you imagine the fear of these kids being taken from their parents, being looked at and touched in ways they never have, having needles stuck in their arm? Can you imagine the safety violation that they feel no longer to feel safe in their own home because they know they can be taken at any time? This is unacceptable to me. And of course, I'm putting myself in the parents' shoes and thinking, what would I do if I found out that that had happened to my children? And here's the salt in the wound. On top of all of that, not being able to comfort and care for their children who are scared and removed from their parents, they have to pay the doctor bill when it comes. Can you imagine writing that check to that doctor? I can't. So I don't tell you all of this just to unload my burden. I tell you this so that you can do better. It is imperative that we do better and know our rights as parents. Here's what you need to know. Child Protective Services shows up at your door with a police or two, guns on their hips. That's scary, right? And they're telling you, you need to let me in, everything's gonna go better, just work with us, we'll help you, we'll get through the process. And parents, of course, are scared and letting them in. This is the number one thing you need to know. Do not let them in. Do not let them in. If they don't have a warrant or a court order, they do not have the right to come in to your home, your property. This is your property. And you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Get them off your property. Shut the door. Nope. Go away. Shut the door. Every single parent that I talked to, the ones that ended up fine, the ones that ended up down the road in the system, this was the key factor. Shutting the door and not allowing them in. Now, let's say you find yourself in the process, okay? And your kids have been taken. The next right they try to get you to waive is your right to a shelter care hearing. You have rights for a reason. Do not. It's critical. Let any of your rights go at this time, at this crucial time. Hold on to each right, each step that you have. The next right that they try to tell you, oh, you don't need an attorney. It's just, it's preliminary. We're just going through the process. Oh, no. You bring an attorney. You bring a private attorney. That's imperative. There's no better way to spend your money. There's no more just of a cause to get a loan or whatever you need to do to make sure you have a private attorney by your side at the shelter care hearing. The next hearing they try to get you to waive is the adjudicatory hearing. Do not waive your right to any hearings. This is actually your time to ask a lot of questions. What happened to my children when they were not in my care? This is how you find that out. There's nothing more important than knowing your rights in this situation. Being prepared. Your children's life, health, mental well-being, emotional well-being absolutely depend on you knowing these rights and exercising them.